Hi, I'm Robert Bohn. I serve as the NIST Cloud Computing Program Manager, but in this role I'll be speaking as the chair of the IEEE P2302 standard for Intercloud Interoperability and Federation. So here's the opening slide. So what is the purpose of all of this, right? Steve gave some explanation. I'm going to give somewhat slightly my own spin on it. But the first thing is we're interested in creating an economy amongst cloud providers, right? Where cloud providers can then buy, sell, trade their cloud services or resources back and forth with each other. And it's important at this point then for a user of the Federation or the services in the Federation for this to be seamless and transparent, much like Steve mentions the phone company. If you pick up the phone and dial someone, that's seamless and transparent. There's something going on in the background, but it's not important for us to see what it is. Finally, this also provides for a dynamic infrastructure to involve that can support evolving business models. So in that sense, once Federation is getting on board and ramping up, new business models will be evolving using Federation as their core set of principles and fundamentals. So for example, if you have an organization with several different divisions and each having their own cloud, you might find new ways to use the service on Division A's cloud to cooperate or work cooperatively with services on your own cloud. So new models will evolve. Just give people time and a little creativity and they'll come up with some stuff. So the scope of the standard is to define the topology. So Steve showed a slide of topologies for clouds, for Federation and such. Also the functional elements, what's needed in these federated clouds, gateways, etc., routers, and finally governance for cloud-to-cloud interoperability and Federation. So the governance is also an important aspect of that. How do we get people in agreement to build a Federation, and what rules will we use as a to keep the Federation alive and vibrant? So some of the intercloud objectives here. So again, support the transparent infrastructure. This is a key point because we want it to be seamless. We don't want people to feel pains of having a federated service or some type of Federation operation go on, which makes them not want to use it anymore. If you couldn't use your cell phone or call people on the other side of the world or on the other side of the room, you wouldn't stand for that. So the situation that we have now is clouds don't really talk well to each other. We'd like to change that in the future. Next, cloud implementation independent. So no matter what type of cloud you're using, we want this standard to be able to work with your cloud, much like an internet router where you can go and buy several different kinds of routers, but they will all do the same thing because they're all based on standards. And the standards are the things, standards really bring all of this together so we could go forth. Next, simple protocol set, easy to join. People will want to join a Federation once they realize the power that a Federation can bring to them. You may decide to create your own internal virtual organization and Federation that way, but you're going to have to be agreeing on certain rules and regulations for the Federation that you can't just do whatever you like or use as much time as you want. There's like I said, rules and regulations. And of course, to support regional governance in a Federation is also key. I can envision if I had a autonomous vehicle, which is licensed in the state of Maryland, and I drive to New York. I want to ensure that my car follows the rules of the road all the way up there on the journey, where it just doesn't say I'm only going to follow the rules of the road in Maryland. So we want to be able to set regional governance issues, and so when that federation kicks in, it will appear. Also support for generalized resource federation, not just virtual machines, but actual services, infrastructure, platform, and software as a service. I think John will have some more stuff, something to add on to that later about the vocabulary. We'd like to be extensibility to any describable resource type. So you might have virtual devices that you'd like to put into your federation. Communities can add their own specialized resource types that are just good for them, that they really find useful. Support for multiple or open proprietary federation topologies is also a key aspect. And if we looked at the network, if we looked at Steve's topology diagram, we noticed that it's a lot of clouds there, but it was really a lot of work with different ways of laying the network out and the network abstraction. So we should be able to handle that as well. Finally, a global scale capable. When would that be useful? If I have a big workload in the Midwest in the daytime, I might want to transfer some of that workload to other parts of the federation where their resource utilization is low, typically at nighttime to daytime type of workload migration. Now we get to the end of it, where we start to talk about the goals and outputs for both the NIST and the P2302. The IEEE P2302 is bound to develop a cloud federation standard based on the scope and purpose from the previous slides. The NIST group, the PWGFC, will be providing interim contributions, and they will serve as input. We will be able to provide them with real-time feedback on the vocabulary and the conceptual architecture, and so that will be that will be feeding on each other. So if we have a problem and they can address it, we want them to address that. Our initial output is expected to be an IEEE standard, which would then plan to contribute to ISO JTC1 SC38 to create an international standard. Here are the links to the IP2302 and an email to request to join the working group list. Finally, my email is at the bottom, robert.bohn@nist.gov, if you feel that you want to contact me directly. Otherwise, I want to thank Steve and you, audience, for listening. Thank you again.